Okay, to save time just a little bit on this, I went ahead and typed it into Desmos because you knew I was going to go there. And I've went ahead and written it out. So we've got our answers right here of 1 over x minus 6, our equation right here of 1 over x minus 6, x over x minus 2 equals 4, x squared minus 8x plus 12. And we're going to start, I'm going to do this algebraically to start. So the first thing I need to do is go ahead and take that x squared minus 8x plus 12, and I am going to plug that into Desmos, and I'm going to put it in form. So there's that first goal, and if you notice it is 2 and 6, so I'm going to rewrite that as x minus 2 and x minus 6. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put that here. Change the color. Let's do this as x minus 2 and x minus 6. And now whenever we do these problems, we're going to be looking for common denominators. And so that's what I'm going to start by doing, is looking for that common denominator. I know that this has got an x minus 2 and an x minus 6. This has just got an x minus 6. So I'm going to say, well, this needs an x minus 2. And what we do to the bottom, we do to the top. And the same happens for this side. I'm going to say, okay, well, this has got an x minus 2. It needs an x minus 6. The other two have x minus 6s. So I'm going to write x minus 6. And what happens at the bottom, you got to do to the top. Now that the bottom is all x minus 2s and x minus 6s, I can work only with the numerator. So I'm going to write this down. X minus 2 times 1, which is just x minus 2, plus x times x minus 6 equals to 4. And the one thing that I do need to do is go ahead and distribute that x. So I'm going to write x minus 2 plus x squared. X times x is x squared minus 6 times x, which is 6x, equals to 4. And I'm just going to combine my like terms, so that x and that minus 6. So we get x squared minus 5x. And then I've got this minus 2, so minus 2 equals to 4. And we know when we have a quadratic, we should just set everything equal to 0. So I'm just going to subtract that 4 over. I'm going to write x squared minus 5x minus 6 equals to 0. Now, the easiest way to solve this quadratic right here is just to go ahead and plug it into Desmos and look for the x-intercepts. Remember, x-intercepts is when y equals to 0. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's type in x squared. Let's take this one out since we've already used that. I'm going to take x squared minus 5x minus 6. I'm going to look for those x-intercepts, which is -1 and positive 6. So in order to solve this, we'd be looking at x equals to -1 and x equals to positive 6. Okay, and now I'm just going to go ahead, and those are our answers. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to go erase a bunch of this stuff. So that makes life a little bit easier for us. You can always go back and watch the beginning of that video if you need to. And I'm going to go ahead and just leave the original problem up there. And so once we go back here, I'm going to go ahead and type in this answer. I'm going to type that part of the equation. I'm going to type in that part. So both of them are in there. And you're going to notice we have an answer of x equals -1. Okay, and look, check it out. There is the intersection right there. It's very visible. Okay, but if I type in x equals to 6, notice what happens there. Okay, we have a real solution, right? Oh, let me go ahead here. Let me draw on this. We have a real solution, right there. But right here, we have a vertical asymptote. And because that's a vertical asymptote, that is telling us that it is not real. It is extraneous. Okay, so that is an extraneous answer. So the real answer, there's only one actually here. It is x equals to -1. The other one is not going to work for this equation.